After chilling, the carcass passes over a firmly anchored knife which separates the two sides. Painstaking care is given to ensure uniform removal of skin and fat. Precise trimming of external and internal fat takes place. Now you see the end result of controlled, scientifically aged beef. Imagine yourself enjoying this meat.
Greetings all, and welcome to the extremely long rabbit hole of meat stations, the conspiracy of a potentially huge market of trading, selling, and consuming of human flesh. In this video, I'll be taking a closer look into the alleged internet conspiracy theory itself, as well as some more specific cases that could relate to the disturbed cannibal dark market. This internet conspiracy theory states that a large market focused on packing, selling, and eating human flesh exists on some form of the dark web called meat stations. Supposed farms are kept to support the meat market, where humans are kept in tight spaces in a direct supply of human trafficking. These same people being held for meat were even allegedly said to be injected with chemicals, just as our cows or chickens we keep in factories are. This notion and practice of selling and distributing human meat is not a new claim from the internet, however. For example, The Red Market, written by journalist Scott Carney, talks in his book about the abundant amount of selling of human organs, hair, bones, and other body parts to special quote-unquote body brokers in Indian refugee camps. For example, one refugee camp originally made for a tsunami in 2004 saw hundreds of women give up their kidneys for money. In fact, it was so common of a practice that the camp earned the name of Kidneyville. In most of these cases, a lot of the women were paid barely anything, merely only $1,000 or less for such an important part of the body, although it made sense as these body brokers looked for women victims who were desperate and in need, or in some form of debt and looking for any amount of money through whatever disturbed means. Once harvested, the kidneys and any other organs are shipped into the global market for patients across the world, usually used in transplants in hospitals. Organs, however, aren't the only thing harvested and sold. Hair, also nicknamed black gold for how much it really goes for, stretches a almost $1 billion market, 40% being used for actual human use like wigs, toupees, etc. A lot of this hair in the market comes from the Sri Tirumala temple, sorry if I mispronounced that, in southern India, where people are known to shave their hair as an act of humility within their religion. This hair, which could weigh as much as 300 pounds, came from only one session from thousands of people. The shaved locks are gathered into big piles and put into large silver containers, where they're shipped off, combed through, cleaned, and sold at an auction. Once sold, the hair can go through a number of places, all depending on what kind of hair it really is. Men's hair, the most common type coming from the temple, is usually sold to chemical companies where they're melted down and turned into the amino acid L-cysteine, which is then used as a leavening agent in most baking good products. So think about that the next time you eat Wonder Bread. From hair to blood to livers, no body part is safe in this ongoing selling and replacing of organs and flesh. This red market, however, is supposedly separate from the meat station theory, as it seems the red market is more concerned with using these body parts to replace existing ones rather than consuming the parts. The meat station origins start in 4chan on a thread about a conspiracy theory iceberg, specifically when a user asks about the entry on the iceberg labeled meat stations. I remember reading about the meat stations last year in one of the forums. It was probably nothing, but the main idea was well, you guessed it, trading and consumption of human meat. Giant market, profit, and the same user even spoke about consumption from non-humans as well. This comment sparked the beginning of multiple theories from multiple threads on what exactly these meat stations were, and if they even existed. Some users suggested the entire idea was made up, shock words made to include in the conspiracy iceberg that started the thread itself. Other users claimed it to be real, in fact, even saying that it was common knowledge on threads years ago. But in 4chan fashion, I'm unable to find barely any mentions of that happening. Another thread was later made asking what the meat stations itself was and if it was even real. Places where you can purchase and or sell human meat and organs. However, some people argue that the ones behind this are reptilians, aliens, or demons. The latter part is mostly fake, but there have been several cases around the world of eccentrics selling and buying human meat online. This comment explaining the theory gives a different take. Although the part about reptilians, aliens, and demons could relate back to what the last user said about non-human consumption. As crazy as that all is, the claim is pretty tame for 4chan, and some other users claimed it to be true as well. Either way, these non-humans don't actually play a huge role in the general theory itself, and I'd chalk it up to 4chan hearsay. On the same thread, another user commented, "I live in Mexico. Long story short, family road trip, super weird random street taco place at the middle of nowhere, in the highway. I was a kid and I didn't like tacos that much. Well, I ate a lot that day. I loved them. Family was acting weird and only ate one taco and were in a rush to go. I think about that day and I'm pretty sure now that they were human tacos, and I'm pretty sure that most of us Mexicans have eaten human meat at some point. We never know what kind of meat we are eating, and usually tacos taste different in every street taco place, so I think human meat is the usual in Mexico." This is a pretty insane addition to the theory. However, some users suggested that the meat the user ate was actually some kind of horse or dog meat. I was actually able to find a study in 2017 that claimed that more than 10% of meat sold from Mexico in small vendor type shops, just like what the user described, contained horse DNA. So whether or not the user was eating human or horse meat is unclear, and honestly seems like its own internet conspiracy theory. The last post I could find mentioning meat stations is a thread about, again, conspiracy theories, but this time, conspiracy theories that happen in China. Give me your best and creepiest theories about China. For me, it's the human farm. Thousands of people in human farms waiting to be butchered like animals so people can use their organs and eat their meat. Clarification of how the meat stations tie in is also later given. Another one is that China's real population is 3-4 times bigger than what we know right now. All those extra poor souls are actually being slaughtered for organs and meat trades, and of course for China's elite-owned version of regurgitation rituals. The same user relates both of these to the meat stations theory given in the original thread that first mentions the disturbed market. Putting this all together, it seems a bit unclear where the theory all concludes. From Chinese human animal meat farms to aliens and demon claims, there doesn't seem to be a clear culprit. Although that's not to say that this kind of human meat trade doesn't happen, especially online. A more specific yet relevant case exists of a man dismembering and consuming another man, which all happened through the online site Cannibal Cafe. The Cannibal Cafe was an early internet forum in the 2000s that held people from all over the world who fantasized about, well, cannibalism. People who wanted to consume human flesh or be consumed themselves would gather here to talk and share any fantasies they had of the dark reality. I'm searching for a young boy between 18 and 25 years old. Have you a normal body? I'll be butchering you and eating your flesh. This post was made by Armin Meiwes, a 39-year-old German man under the online alias Frankie. Armin asks for a willing participant in his twisted fantasies and, surprisingly, gets a response. 43-year-old engineer Bernd Brandes responds to the post by messaging Armin under his own alias, Couture99. Bernd himself had fantasized the same as Armin, but instead of wanting to eat human flesh, he himself wanted to be eaten. Specifically, he wanted someone to eat the flesh of his penis. After you're dead, I'll take you out and expertly carve you up except for a pair of knees and some fleshy trash, skin, cartilage, tendons. There won't be much of you left. I'll dry out your knees and grind them up soon after. You won't be the last, hopefully. I've already considered catching a young person from the street. According to this online transcript of their messages, Byrne would agree to this message sent by Armin, and on March 9th, Byrne took the day off work, sold most of his personal belongings, erased his hard drive, and flew down to meet Armin, after a quick stop at the pharmacist for sleeping pills. Byrne arrived at Armin's house, following being picked up by his soon-to-be butcher at the airport. Upon arrival, the two had sex, and Byrne allegedly briefly backed out of the agreement, but however he would go on to take 20 sleeping pills anyways and down a bottle of cough syrup. All of this, of course, was for what Byrne had fantasized and told Armin to do, which was to bite his penis off. Armin videotaped the entire ordeal, and the whole 2-hour-long tape still exists, supposedly, yet remains unreleased. The recording shows as Armin unsuccessfully tries to take the penis off by biting it, to which he then just uses a kitchen knife instead, taking a piece off to feed to Byrne. The piece of meat was supposedly too hard to chew for Byrne, and subsequently Armin decided to cook the meat, frying it with salt, pepper, wine, garlic, and Byrne's own fat from his body. Byrne only managed to get one bite down, as at this point he was bleeding heavily, and in an attempt to soothe Byrne's wounds, Armin drew him a bath, burning the rest of the meat in the process, although. He grounded and fed this burnt meat to his own dog before going back to the bathroom to check on Byrne's, which he continued to do over the next hour. It's unclear when, but at some point Armin took a knife and stabbed Byrne in the throat, finally killing him. Armin then hung his body on a meat hook, draining his blood and then dismembering Byrne's body into meal-sized pieces, which he hid inside of his fridge. He buried multiple inedible body parts and ate over 44 pounds of Byrne's body over the next 20 months after Armin originally butchered him. And that's all I have for you guys today. I just want to say a huge thank you for 1K. It is actually crazy how fast we actually got there. So thank you guys so much again. I also just want to mention that the last layer and the video of the mass killer iceberg is coming. I've been spending a long time compiling the rest of the entries into just one giant big video for you guys. So just bear with me as I get that out. Besides that, that is all I have for you guys. So thank you and good night.